tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into the
higher the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to pay in shops.
Ready? The higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
That will take many, as you know, that will take many years.
In fact, I'll tell you, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. When I do the 10%, 10% is really, first of all, 10% when you collect it is hundreds of billions of dollars. The numbers that you're talking, all reducing our deficit. But really, so there's two ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in,
this is the kind of thing that causes importers, shippers, customs brokers nightmares, because you're essentially changing the price after it's been imported, and who is going to have to pay that difference? It becomes a logistical nightmare.
To prove he's on the hook for the tariffs, Muscat showed us his invoice from U.S. Customs. Can you explain to us what exactly this is and show us in terms of who is paying the tariff?
When we import the shoes into the United States, U.S. Customs and Border Control sends us an invoice and takes the money out of our account. Once the importer pays that tariff, it's part of our cost of goods, and it affects our selling price accordingly. It lists the product we brought in and what the duty rate is. And in this particular group, we had 3 or 4 different products. Some were at 6% duty, some were at 12.5% duty, and the aggregate of all of this came to a total duty of $6,133.90. For this shipment, we were billed that amount, and U.S. Customs pulled that amount from our checking account at Chase Bank.
So not China's bank account, but your bank account.
For it, yes.
Muscat says higher tariffs will translate into higher prices for his consumers.
The increase in the tariff will ultimately show up at the price tag when a consumer goes into a store, and the consumer will pay more.
Prices are definitely going to increase, and I think that's a big message that consumers need to be aware of, is tariffs are paid for by the consumer.